So today's topic is the raw ingredients. And what is so important about this raw food? What's in the raw food? And what happens to the food when heat comes in contact with it? That's what we're going to go through today. But as always, I'd love to start with a video and give you guys some smoothies. So some of you might have seen this video before, and I played it about a month ago, but some of you, this will be your first time. And does anybody recognize it yet? People with I recognize it. Is that recognizable?
You will absolutely feel a difference.
No?
No?
Awesome.
In my early 20s, I had more health problems than you could possibly imagine. I looked around and saw I wasn't the only one. And I said, this has got to change.
I was on 6 different medications. I'd seen 9 different doctors. I became hooked on prescription painkillers. I lost use of my left arm and partial use of my right arm. My immune system was really weakened. I was in very, very bad shape. I was actually making out my will.
We are living in the most unhealthy culture in the history of mankind. People are getting cancer and dying early, while other cultures around the world are living well past 100. 3 billion baby boomers are looking in the mirror and freaking out. They're getting wrinkles, losing hair, gaining weight, and realizing that dieting, pills, lotions, plastic surgery, and injections just don't work.
Your body is starving for nutrients, and the foods that we have nowadays make you keep eating and keep eating and keep eating, and they're void of all nutrients. But what doctors are going to write malnutrition on the death certificate?
What if we could turn our life around right now, never get sick again, lose weight, regain our youth, and become sexier than we've ever been in our life?
Hi, my name is Natalia Zikova, and I'm from Russia.
The answer is simpler than you think. People are doing it, and one by one, it's starting to change the world.
I love it.
I love healthy living and raw food.
I'm always great. I'm looking healthy. I feel great.
I can't even begin to tell you how great it is.
This isn't just about looking younger.
It's getting younger. I feel fabulous.
It changes in a big way.
I feel a huge difference.
Absolutely amazing. I feel like I'm getting younger.
The most primitive people on Earth are outliving us by up to 50 years. They have no medical plans, no pills, no x-rays, no electricity, no freezers, no stoves. They're 100 years old and still having sex. You tell me who's better off.
The first week I started eating raw, without even trying, I lost 10 pounds.
70 pounds in the first year.
I've only been on this for a month and a half, and I've lost 30 pounds in a month and a half.
You're more beautiful, you're sexier, you're thinner.
After plastic surgery, we get Botox, that's just painting a little rust.
I lost wrinkles. My skin was smoother.
My skin, my hair, my nails, everything, my energy.
Definitely more energy.
More energy.
Tons of energy.
If I took this apple and planted it in the ground, I'd get an apple tree. But if I took this pasta, this bread, or this cereal, and I planted it in the ground, what would we get? Mold. So what's the difference between this and this? This has life. Life is what our body needs.
The food pyramid, retarded. Pointless.
If I planted these vitamin pills in the ground, what do you think was going to grow?
Did you know that the FDA doesn't regulate any of the stuff that goes in your skin, and yet if it goes on your skin, it gets right into your bloodstream?
In your bloodstream, right?
That's gross.
They would sit there in their huge SUV sucking out sugar and cholesterol, wondering why your hair is falling out, or whining about how cellulite just showed up for no reason. Come on, people, take some responsibility in your life.
Your body is a living organism, and therefore it needs living food to survive and do the job that it's meant to do.
They say you're a hippie for doing it. You know, it's like it's a hippie reason for doing it. Maybe you're vegan and he just cares about animals. Well, okay, you can say whatever you like, but when you start eating that way, you're gonna feel better.
Go ahead, get your stomach stable, so now you can only eat 1 candy bar instead of 12. Grow up!
This is easy.
And it is so easy.
There's no rocket science, there's no certain, there's no deep, profound thing you have to know.
This is a papaya. This is a mango. This is called food.
Over here, we don't have good medical system, so we're forced to eat more naturally, so we don't have to go to the hospital.
Everyone here in Australia loves to eat meat. Likes to eat meat. There's no meat in these biceps. Squat with 400, deadlift probably probably over that 400, 500 pounds.
They always ask me about meat and protein. The biggest, most powerful animals on the planet don't eat meat. Some of the world's top professional bodybuilders don't eat meat.
I was the world number 2 junior in natural bodybuilding, and also world number 3 senior in natural bodybuilding. As I was saying about strength, you don't need to just be meat all the time, and it's not a big thing. I can guarantee your strength will definitely still be there.
When people stop eating meat, their diseases start to go away.
There's more usable protein in greens.
We've all been brainwashed. We don't need it.
When we heal, we have to walk everywhere, and the bus system is unreliable. So that keeps our heart rates up, and we're healthier.
I know what you're saying. What difference is one pizza, one piece of cake, or soft drink going to make? Do you think it's going to simply go through you, completely come out the next day? Your body absorbs what you eat and uses it to build new cells. Your body makes millions of new cells every hour. What do you think those cells will be made of? That pizza becomes part of you, and those cells are not going to function properly. Why do you think you're always right on the edge of getting sick? Why do you think you're so tired all the time? Your concentration is so light.
I was always going to see doctors for something.
Remember the 3 little pigs? One had a house built out of straw, another one out of wood, another one out of bricks. Well, when the wolf comes around in our lives, and it will, what will your house be made out of?
My father, the neurologist, wanted to actually operate on his brain because his arms and body were spasming. And within 3.5 weeks, his health improved 90%. Now he can go back to work. Now he doesn't have sciatica pain. And this is just 3.5 weeks.
If all the scientists and doctors in the world got together, they could not make an apple. They can't take hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon and make a single living cell, but your body can. The only thing that can truly heal your body is you.
I really think it's all about food as medicine, not just food for the sake of food.
I definitely felt my whole sense and spiritual self and physical self was lighter.
I felt lighter. I feel lighter. I mean, I feel like air sometimes.
You just feel uplifted.
So maybe you inherited a body that isn't so hot. There are a lot of people out there who take old junk cars and turn them into hot rods and win awards at car shows. And they didn't do it by just giving the old junker a paint job. They had to strip it down to the bare chassis, sandblast all the rust away, and start over from bare bones. That's what you need to do with yourself. You want to be sexy? It's time to start over. And I mean really start over.
You know, I don't prepare food anymore.
We threw out everything in the kitchen. We literally went
Throw it out, we gave it away to some nice people that eat cooked foods.
You eat things that grow on the planet.
I'm talking about nourishment that can get you through an entire day just having a handful of something.
It's easier than cooking. I don't even know how to cook.
I really felt the difference when I started doing all kinds of cleansing, especially juice fasting.
You don't know you're not healthy until you really get healthy.
My lower back pain is gone. My nasal congestion is gone.
Within 2 weeks, I noticed a difference. I was up on my feet again. I was able to sleep through the night, and I was able to get off the drugs. Everything changes.
I love being 52 and feeling like I'm 22.
I can promise you that you will feel so much better eating this way.
You should really try. Just eat the natural stuff.
Try raw food, it's great.
It's the next step.
Make this change in your life.
You can change right now.
I work 16-hour days, and I have time for raw food. If I have time, you have time.
Give your body what it needs. And watch the miracles start to happen.
This absolutely does work. It definitely works.
Life or death. It's your choice.
Choose life. We have a choice every moment. Be true to yourself.
It's time to be healthy, alive, and beautiful again.
I just love
I
it.
feel a huge difference.
Don't let anybody ever tell you you're too old for anything.
It's just so simple.
How many people are inspired? That inspired me when I
I
saw
want
that.
wings.
Yeah, I want wings, exactly. Yeah, so what is in raw foods and why are they such a big deal in their natural state? And here are just some of the raw ingredients. And we're going to cover the first 5. That's all we're going to have one time for today. And 2, I don't want to put too much information in you at once. And so I'm learning this stuff myself. So vitamins and minerals. Let's go to vitamins and minerals. Anybody who know who Dr. Ann Wigmore is? She's the one that made wheatgrass popular.
Oh, yeah, you talked about it before.
Yeah, and she lived to a great an old age. Her hair turned black after being gray for like 10 years. In her 70s, her hair turned black, and they tested her hair to make sure that it was real, like, in a laboratory, to make sure that it wasn't dyed. And one of the things she said is that up to 83% of raw food nutrients are destroyed with cooking. I mean, that's like, we're trying to get nutrition, we're trying to eat this or that, and we're like, okay, I want, let's just say a carrot, like some cooked carrots for some vitamin A. It could be that up to 83% of them is just destroyed, and we're just having carrots, for instance. And 50% of the B vitamins and 70-80% of C are destroyed by cooking. And so there's so much lost in cooking, and the only way I really know about this is how I feel and how my body recovers. Specifically, I play basketball, and so I know that when I eat raw foods, and which I do now for the last couple of years, the recovery time is so much quicker. And I was like, why is that? Why can I go back the next day and have, my legs and everything? Why? And it's just because so much of my body is repairing and having a rest from the cooked food. And Jan Dries, who worked extensively with helping cancer patients heal using raw food, explains that cooking renders minerals inactive. So you might get the minerals, but they're inactive. The electromagnetic field that is very important to minerals disappears when you heat them. Inactive memories of mineral have a very disturbing effect on the kidney filters. So many people, their adrenals and the kidneys need help. Just about everybody can use adrenal and kidney help. Those are two things that get taxed. And so this is one of the ways that kidneys, just by having cooked food, we're having these inorganic minerals in our body, and it's just trash. And we're not meant to have it in the first place. And when food is cooked, the minerals are separated by the heat from the organic combination, returning it to inorganic molecules, which recombine as toxic inorganic salts, such as sodium chloride, causing many health problems such as arterial plaque arthritis and Alzheimer's disease. So, this is very scientifically written, and this comes from Susan Schenck, who wrote the book, The Live Food Factor, and she has a wealth of knowledge. It's like an encyclopedia, that book, and I'll give you the name after. I know you're. And so some people say, well, if I take supplements, let me just have my multivitamin and have raw food and have some cooked, but make sure I get my supplements, and it won't compensate for the depletion in cooked food. Most supplements use mineral extracted from rocks because it's cheaper. And there could be numerous nutrients yet to be discovered, like, I'm gonna go for it right now, quinone, which plays a role in fertility, was discovered by Japanese scientists in 2003. So before that, the last vitamin or nutrient that was discovered was, I think, 1948. So 50 years later, they discovered a new vitamin. And so a woman who's taking a multivitamin could have been infertile and not even known why she was. Because we want to take vitamins, we want to believe that that'll do it, and I'm not against it, I'm not saying supplements are bad or anything like that, but what I am saying is that to get the live food, to get all this nutrition in us from the original source, and a lot of times vitamins aren't good, and sometimes they're a little better if they're going to do sometimes there's powdered green supplements that come right from live foods and they keep it at low heat, so it's a little better, but nothing could or should take the place of raw live foods. There's so many nutrients in foods that we haven't even discovered yet. I mean, to me it would seem pretty arrogant to think like we found it all. We got it covered now in science. we are discovering all the time, and technology keeps increasing. There could be vitamins not even discovered yet that aren't in any multivitamin because they haven't been discovered yet, but they're in the food. And the food has all the vitamins and the minerals in the perfect combination, the perfect amounts of this and this. Sometimes you see, you see like there's a popular vitamin out there called CalMag, right? People's calcium and magnesium. And the reason is because if you take, there are certain vitamins that if you take, it diminishes the others that are already in you. And that's why they came out with like CalMag, because they found if you do calcium and magnesium, it holds the calcium together and it doesn't deplete the magnesium that's in you. Something to that effect, that you're messing with chemistry when you're dealing with vitamins, but the banana, the kale, the spinach, the blueberries, what else is in here? The dates and celery. All of them have, each one of them have, in the perfect combination, whatever nature designed, to be exactly the amount of calcium we need, magnesium, phosphorus, etc. It's all there, perfectly done. We can't, like, we try to copy, we try to do the best we can, and we can make a lot of money off of vitamins, and I don't have to tell you that. And that's the thing, is like nature in its perfect holiness, or whatever you want to call it. It's whole. It's whole food. It's there. It's there. And so enzymes. People, I know you've heard this word before. It's becoming popular in the last 10 years. And enzymes are protein molecules that act in specific ways, working in a lock and key manner with other molecules to facilitate chemical reactions in virtually every cell and every organ and every system in the body, from digestion to elimination and everything in between. They are the catalysts. That means that they are not affected by what they do. They just help something else happen. They're not affected. Nothing's taken away from them. They continue to do what they do, and they facilitate chemical reactions. Enzymes are what enables fruit to ripen, a seed to sprout and grow into a plant. Without enzymes, earthly life would be impossible. So enzymes are everything. And so what happens when you cook food to the enzymes? You
Kills them.
It kills them. You know, the lower the heat, the less are killed. And the higher the heat, the longer. And basically we use three kinds of enzymes. Metabolic enzymes to run our bodies, digestive enzymes to digest our food, and food enzymes in raw foods that enable the food to partially self-digest. Food enzymes are active or alive in a food. Once a food is heated, the chemical degrade or they die. By conservative estimates, enzymes may be dying at temperatures of 105. So 105, like I guess as hot as it gets outside in the summer days, that's about as hot as food wants to be before it starts to break down. And but a lot of people will say 118, and like specifically this restaurant and most restaurants go to 118. They'll have raw things and they'll go to 118. So there's the debate: is it 118? Is it 105? And I think the real strict raw foodists are at 105, and the ones transitioning go to places like this. I go to places still like this, but when I'm eating healthy stuff, I just don't eat anything cooked or dehydrated or at my healthiest, but I still go to places like this, and I still eat dehydrated or cooked just a little bit, and I feel a difference between that and when I'm just eating raw, like truly raw food. And cooking alters the enzyme's lock and key configuration so that it can no longer perform its intended function. For all practical purposes, the enzyme is dead. The protein molecule is still present, but its life force is gone, much like a battery that's lost its power or a spark plug that has worn out. Has anyone here seen the movie What the Bleep Do Know? Mm-hmm. What the Bleep? It's a great movie. Seen it? Great movie. It gets into the quantum physics of life. and that everything is like a lock and a key, and this goes to this, and this makes things happen on every cell, all 80 trillion cells of our body. So everything is, things are happening right now by what you just drank, right now by what you're hearing me say. If you're liking what I'm saying, stuff is happening in your body that's good. If you're like, I gotta get out of here, or this is not for me, and you're just dealing with it, something's happening in your body that's not good. There's all these things that are constantly happening in our body. Millions upon billions of things every minute are happening. And so enzymes are what makes everything happen. Everything, you name it, enzymes are responsible for it. So enzymes are very important. And so raw food is filled with enzymes. And if we eat cooked food, we force our pancreas to crank out more digestive enzymes than our bodies were designed to produce. By age 40, the average person has only 30% of its digestive enzymes potential left. This is a major reason for increased tiredness as we age. So, there's, I make this analogy sometimes that if we are, let's say I'm having this green smoothie right now, and there's a 5-year-old boy sitting right next to me, and he's having the green smoothie. He's getting more out of it than I am. If we're both in the sun, and I'm getting vitamin D, he's getting vitamin D, he's getting more vitamin D than I am. He's getting more oxygen than I am, because he's cleaner, his body works better, he has more enzyme, he has life force energy in him. And so we can reverse that in us, our aging. We can come back to a place where we increase our enzymes, we increase all the metabolic functions that go in our body just from raw food, just by eating it. And you will know this, not what I say or what you see on YouTube or I read in a book. You will know this if you have tried it already, or if you try it and you're going to feel the energy. Whatever that thing is, people just say, I got all this energy. And it takes about the same amount of energy to make the enzymes for 3 meals a day of cooked food as it does 8 hours of hard labor. So any wonder people are suffering from fatigue. That's an estimate. 3 meals a day of cooked is like really working it, or you're in manual labor for 8 hours a day. And so, it's no wonder why my energy has gone through the roof on raw foods. It makes sense to me now. Reading this is one thing, but experiencing and then reading it. Phytochemicals found in plant foods have been recently discovered to play a role in nutrition that differs from other nutrients, and that they are not assimilated by the cells nor used as fuel. So there's all these things in food. We think, how much of vitamin this does it have, or how much protein does it have. But there's all these other things that we don't even, and I believe things we haven't even discovered yet. These are just some of them. And they serve as antioxidants and modulators of the body's defense mechanisms, block carcinogenic substances from the cells, quiet and calm the nervous system, and reduce cholesterol levels. They also protect us from pollution, radiation, disease, along with performing many other functions. To get the full spectrum of phytochemicals, one should eat a rainbow of colors from fruits and vegetables. So, what's red? Beets. Anything else? Tomatoes?
Rhubarb.
Cranberry. What's green? Kale. Kale gets first. I love it. Spinach. And so all of these things. And then what's yellow?
Yellow pepper.
Squash, yellow peppers. And what's purple?
Cabbage.
Cabbage.
Eggplant.
Yeah. What's blue?
Blueberry.
That's the only thing I know that's blue. Maybe a fig if you count a fig, or kind of purpley. But it's really getting all of the different colors in the rainbow of food. And I used to eat food that was beige and white and brown, and now I eat foods that are colorful and beautiful. And there's something happens that when I look at it, I get excited to eat it. And that is doing something to my digestion before I even digest the food. That's doing something to when I prepare my food myself and I'm making my salad, I'm taking 20 minutes, half an hour, like cutting it up and getting it all perfect to feed. This is an act of self-love, and then I feed myself, and it's just like, and then I eat it, and then I finish, and I'm like, I feel so good afterwards. This is just phytochemicals are just one of the many reasons that this happens. And then there's biophotons, total scientific words, light energy from the sun. In '82, German physicist of Nobel Prize winner Dr. Fritz Popp and his colleagues proved that the presence of biophotons, biologically produced units of light in vegetables, and proved that biophotons are stored in the DNA and develop an instrument. Hi, she'll be right out with you. The biophoton meter to measure biophoton emission. So there's like light energy from the sun. They can now test it and gauge it and say, and he was able to demonstrate that the luminosity of a fresh plant, contrasting it with the greatly reduced luminosity of the withered plant. His research went on to prove that the quality of food is mainly dependent on the number of photons it contains. So, like, who wants more photons in their diet? I mean, this is light energy from the sun. And this is what is in raw foods. And he found that healthy cells store light longer and radiate coherent light, and that the biophoton energy of healthy people was much greater than unhealthy people. I'll stop right then. The cells, they store light longer. So we could have these cells, and we could get these biophotons, and we're unhealthy, and we're not even, so when they say absorption and assimilation of raw food or nutrition is more important than the food itself. This is why. It'll store light longer. You can't store light long if you're unhealthy, or as long as you could if you were healthier. And so wild food was found to emit 2 times as many biophotons as cultivated organic foods. And organic food was found to emit 5 times as many biophotons as commercially grown food. So I always get the question, organic or commercial? Is it really worth the money to spend on organic? And the way I see it, organic is cheaper than commercial, because not only does organic have more nutrition in it but they have more biophotons and so many other things, because pesticides and the soil that it grows in is so important. And so people are like, well, it costs like twice as much for organic. And I'm like, yeah, but you're getting 5 times, 10 times as much vitamin A, let's just say, as the commercial. So you got to buy, if you're doing getting the fruits and vegetables so you can have your nutrition, you have to buy like 5 times more commercial stuff just to keep up with the organic. And then when you get wild, you're on another level. Wild meaning that it wasn't commercial or grown, cultivated, or anything. It's just wild, like wild blueberries. I get wild blueberries all the time, frozen wild blueberries at Trader Joe's, and they are the things that they're like my ice for my smoothie. And blueberries are full of antioxidants, and yes, freezing them does reduce the value of the food, but not to the point where it stops me from having it. So it's just really about making better and better choices. The electrons. This is it for the science stuff. Like, electrons are the last thing. I'm giving you guys a lot here, and it's a lot for me too, because I just want to have raw foods and feel good and just move on with my day. I don't need to get all. But Dr. Joanna Ludwig found that live raw foods are rich in electrons and act as high-powered electron donors. Solar resonance in the body to attract, store, and conduct the sun's energy. She found that live foods are particularly good sources of electrons. So, do you see how the electrons help the everything else I mentioned? I can't even think of the names, but everything acts with everything. and this helps this, and this helps this, and all of this stuff happens, and it's just eating raw foods. It's just eating the foods that we were designed to eat way back when, before fire was even invented, and it's all there. It's all good, and just, you know, and I was thinking this morning, driving over here, it's like, this is what I do for my career. It's like I help people with energy and nutrition and get their lives to the highest level. And most of what I do usually goes to diet and helps people with diet. And so it's like I study this stuff. I do all this research and I'm learning on myself and through books and all of this stuff. And all I'm doing is coming up with all of these reasons why to eat natural foods in their natural state in the beginning anyway. It's like I have to convince a bear to go eat blueberries. I could just tell the bear, look, there's so many antioxidants in blueberries. You gotta have, or for a bear, you gotta have fish because there's like these omega-3s in there that are gonna be so good for you. And here's why, and here's the biophotons and the electrons and all of this stuff just to eat what the bear is gonna eat. You know, we're the only creature that has gone to cook and altered the chemistry of food and have, as a result, come up with all of these diseases just because we're not eating what our bodies were designed to eat. And the more we can take in solar electrons by eating live foods, the better we can attract and absorb solar electrons in direct response from the sun, thus enhancing our health and even our consciousness. Perhaps this is where we get the phrase sunny disposition. That's what people have called me sunshine. People have commented, even in this restaurant, that like the cooks back there, like, you're always happy. You come in the morning and you have like this energy, and it's like, I guess I'm getting more electrons or something, or I'm getting more phytonutrients or biophotons or whatever it is. I can't explain it other than I just feel so good and I love how I feel, and this is raw food is like, it's so tasty. And last night I had a group over my place and made a salad and pesto pasta, and it was great, and we all had live foods for dinner, and after dinner we were all the same energy as we were before dinner. There wasn't any Thanksgiving crash or like, oh, I can't believe I overdid it again. It was like we nourished ourselves. And this is what I get to do. I get to do this every day. I love raw foods. Here's you guys might have seen this. It's a short 2-minute.
Angela Stokes was never an overweight child, but as she grew, her underactive thyroid gland changed all of that.
6.5 years ago, I was like 300 pounds and very unwell, very miserable. I tried to give this impression all the time that I felt fine about everything and that everything was good, but inside I was really in a lot of pain a lot of the time.
But one day, while working in a greenhouse in Iceland, of all places, Angela says she had an epiphany.
It was like kind of light bulb moment, like this is what I've been waiting for, to just, you know, reclaim my health.
That day, she started a raw food diet.
The mainstay of it is nuts, seeds, vegetables and fruits in unheated, unprocessed condition. I often get asked, you know, does that mean sushi? Questions like that. For me, no, it doesn't mean sushi. I'm pretty much a whole vegan.
And after just 2 years, she had lost 160 pounds. Angela hasn't looked back once.
I went cold turkey to being 100% raw, or cold cucumbers, and sometimes say, to me, it's a lifestyle, you know, it's an amazing lifestyle choice to make for ourselves.
So what tips does Angela have if you want to try the lifestyle for yourself? First of all, start slow.
I recommend start out being at least 50% raw and just take it from there.
She also recommends getting plenty of variety, starting off with foods you're familiar with, and getting plenty of support.
I think emotionally and socially it can be very challenging for a lot of people to live this way. connect with other people who are into the raw food movement. It's very great to get support. My name is Angela Sykes, and I lost 160 pounds from raw food lifestyle.
Dr. Sanjay, the CNN report.
So, there's so many testimonials out there, and that's what really gets me is like my first few years raw, and I still do it. I would just get on YouTube and I would watch what was working and watch what wasn't working, and I would hear the arguments, and I would hear how some people are like, you know, you got to be raw this way or you got to be raw this way. But there's a wealth, obviously, of information on the internet, and I had to keep going back to the internet to doing that. I kept having to come to things like this and get with raw people to hear the message of what is, of the reality of it. I mean, the stuff that I pointed out was scientists doing studies and learning from it and watching things happen. One of the things I didn't mention was that one of the, what was it, not the electrons before that, I think it was the phytochemicals. The pancreas increases in size in cooked food. And it was tested that like rats and or whatever studies were done had bigger pancreases than the ones that were not on cooked food. And that is because our pancreas has to make up all this other stuff to compensate for the cooked food. It's like, oh no, and it gets bigger and we have these enlarged pancreases and they're not supposed to be that way. And so they tested this on rats and they tested it on people, and so it is bigger pancreas as well. We just want everything to be the right size, the way it was intended to be, but our bodies compensate and they try to help itself as much as it could. We put ourselves through a lot over 50, 75, 100 years of life, and it just, here's one more very inspiring 2-minute video from this one guy.
Hi, my name's Jeff Hines, and I'm pretty much a typical American. I was raised on hamburgers, milkshakes, and french fries, and I've had problems since I was a little kid. Staying awake in school. I was kicked out of high school for sleeping too many classes. All sorts of other problems arose through my childhood, and I really couldn't figure it out. I went to psychologists. They told me I was ADD, I was manic, depressive, bipolar, all this kind of stuff. And interestingly enough, I ran into David Wolf at the Conscious Life Expo in February, which is 3 months ago, and he was talking about a thing called superfoods and eating raw. And I decided to give it a try, and I went home and bought a bunch of superfoods, things like maca, cacao, goji berry extract, cayenne pepper, and milk, and I made these elixirs, and I started drinking these, and I got tons of energy right off the bat, and dropped 120 pounds in 3 months. My family is completely blown away, and my energy levels are so high that sometimes they want me to take tranquilizers, but I don't listen to them. I just channel all my energy into all the creative things I've always ever wanted to do, and I have the best day ever every day. My depression is gone, and I'm really, really thankful I met David Wolf and started eating.
What is the word behind it? That is it some healing?
Yeah, they do those conferences, but like that's a man filled with biophotons, if I ever saw one, or you know, whatever it is, it's the sunny disposition, it's the new life. It's like going from all of these cells that are dead and toxic and just staying in the body, and then all of a sudden we give ourselves this nutrition, and our bodies are like, okay, I'm going to get nutrition now, I'm going to start doing what I was intending to do. Let's get rid of all this junk and all this anybody who's done raw yet, I don't know how many people here are mostly raw, halfway raw. So you guys know, you guys have seen the, you know, that there's, if you didn't, you wouldn't be here. You know, there's raw food is awesome. It just has everything in it as nature designed it. And so I want to put together, I mentioned this before, a green smoothie cleanse. And some of you might have checked it off in the past, and maybe you didn't check it off because you've already checked it off. But is everybody interested in the possibility of doing a green smoothie cleanse? It seems like most people are. Yeah, I want to. Sometimes we do these cleanses where there's like just juice, or you go on a water fast, and it's like really hard. But like a green smoothie cleanse is doable. You're not going to be hungry, and we're going to have a salad every night. It's pretty much eating how I normally eat. So, and I call it a green smoothie cleanse because we'll get a couple green smoothies in every day. But I want to put something together like that and have this community. Today, there's less people than we expected, and you know, people have schedules and doing everything. Next week, what I want to do is continue on with the raw ingredients. For any of you scientific-minded, there was only 5 out of 12 that I covered. But my main point is to convince and to understand that raw food in its natural state, has it all. It's all there, and there's so much more, and there's not so much of that other stuff that renders our body toxic and useless, and all of these aches and pains or whatever that comes with aging that we're supposed to get. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. We're not supposed to get any of this stuff. And people who eat raw foods know that to be true. And that, you know, certain things happen and we live in life and there's all this stuff. But one of the ingredients I mentioned talks about like pollution and carcinogens and all of these other things, gets our defenses up. So we could live in a world like this, which we're not supposed to live in, you know. All these cars and smog and pollution and radio waves, and all that wasn't designed way back when. But yet, raw foods can help us strengthen up. You know, there's a reason why I haven't been sick in 2 years. There's a reason why I have the sunny disposition. There's a reason why, and it's raw foods, that's it. Because there's no like spiritual enlightenment I got, or it's just raw food. Natural food in its natural state. So for today, that's it. For now, I don't want to there's already so much. But does anybody have any questions about this or anything else with raw foods while we have a few minutes? Yeah.
I have the Blendtec blender. I think you use the same one.
Yeah.
I put mine on smoothie, and it's just solid green. Yours, you don't just do it through the full smoothie thing. You cut it short, right?
No, I do it.
Because I feel more particles.
Yeah.
Particles in this.
Yeah. What are you putting in your smoothie?
Kale.
Yeah.
Blueberries.
Yeah.
Dates.
Yeah.
Coconut water.
Yeah.
But it comes out very
smooth.
Fine. Very smooth.
Okay, and this was a little chunkier.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I always feel like I get a more flakes of the kale, which
Yeah.
I don't dislike.
Right.
I just
I didn't. Yeah, that's interesting to know. Usually my smoothies are really smooth.
So I mean, do you hit smoothie?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think like the 30-second smoothie.
Maybe mine's just new and it's just
Maybe.
got that extra.
It could be. It could be, or maybe I took it off a little sooner today. I might have done that.
Okay.
It's possible.
Yeah, because I was just wondering if I should maybe stop it a little sooner, that it isn't quite so broken.
There's 2 answers to that. Yes and no. If you stop the smoothie from masticating it to its full degree, you are going to save some of the nutrition in it. But at the same time, you want to blend it to break the cellulose fiber wall of the plant where all the nutrition is stored. And so there's the give and take. The best thing would be to eat the foods that are in the smoothie and chew for 2 or 3 hours. That would be the best possible thing we could do. We'll assimilate, but nobody's really, of course, no one's going to do that. So in our modern world, this is a great thing to add to get your greens in every day and to start the day. I love starting my day with green smoothie. There's so much green energy, biophotons, and yeah.
Do you add the pulp to your smoothie?
Yeah. Everything is in. A smoothie is nothing is taken out. It's just blended together. And a juice is where the fiber or the pulp is taken out. That's the difference between juicer and smoothie.
Well, I have just a Jack LaLanne juicer that I got years ago that I'm using.
Yeah.
With a blender. So I've been taking some of the pulp out of the Jack LaLanne juicer out of the back end and putting it in my smoothie.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I mean, you're going to get more fiber in that way, and but you know, there's benefits to juicing. Juicing does stuff that smoothies can't do, and vice versa. So, in juicing, you could get you can juice 6 carrots and have your carrot juice and get all of the stuff that carrots gives. But no one's going to eat 6 carrots, or probably not, like they are juice. And so yeah, there are definitely benefits to juicing, and there's definitely benefits to smoothieing. That's why I do both every day. I get my green juice in. I don't do fruit juice because the sugar in fruit absorbs too quickly without the fiber that nature intended to put in with the fruit. The greens I'm able to take. So like just straight green, there's sugar in the greens, but it's not enough to, it just gives me like so much oxygen and chlorophyll. And now, I'm going to start saying biophotons, and people are like, what? But there's just so much in it. So, any other questions?
Yeah, I was reading this book called Raw Power by this guy who's, I guess he used to be a partner with David Wolf or something.
Steve Arlen. Yeah.
Right. And he's pushing stuff like vitamin greens and chlorella and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you take that, or do people take that as basically a safety mechanism?
Yeah, see, that's where vitamins are better.
And is it worth it, too? I mean, all this stuff can get real expensive.
It is. I mean, I'm saying it is really expensive. I'm not saying it is worth it. I'm going to answer that by saying I don't know. There are things in superfoods, and we're going to do a presentation on nothing but superfoods. I'm going to talk about one week. And superfoods have, I don't know how many international units of vitamin A compared to a carrot, like a goji berry has, or this much more vitamin C, or this much more whatever. And whatever ingredient is in there, they're called superfoods because they have so much. And because our soils have been depleted, it's a good idea to get all of this stuff that we're missing.
So when someone come out with a book that this is your superfood juice book,
right,
or something like that, so you're getting the best of the best.
You're getting the best of the best. That is ideal to do that. And on the other side, there's so many raw foodists who started off doing the superfood thing because it was very attractive to have more and bigger and better and deeper in the Amazon jungle where no one's ever gone before, whatever it is. And they went back just to the typical grocery store farmer's market foods. And their health is great. So
with the designer jeans.
Right. It's already there. So I say superfoods they have value to them. I believe also people who are eating a standard American diet might benefit from superfoods because they're not getting, and now they're getting vitamins in a different way in a superfood that they would get from a multivitamin that might have come from a rock instead of a pure food source. So or maybe if you're starting out, or if you find out you're deficient in some areas by going to a naturopath and they say, hey, you're really low on iron, you know, so let's get a goji berry, which I believe are high in iron. For corrective measures, I would say yes, but all in all, you know, I want to say no, and I want to say no to the money of it all and the expense. You know, I want to just, I would like to think that just going to the grocery store and getting a bunch of different variety, you are going to get enough, but the superfood salesmen will say, you're not getting enough and this is why, and they might be right. This is why I say I don't know. But for me, I do some superfoods here and there. I come here, I'll get their spirulina, I'll put spirulina in the protein shake, and I will do goji berries sometimes. But if I don't do it for a while, I don't feel like I'm weaker or anything like that. So basically the tests are still out, and I'm researching it myself. So, hey.
And what's your feeling on seeds and nuts?
I think they're great, beneficial for us, and we should definitely have them in our diet at a moderate level to low level. I think nuts and seeds are great, but to keep them at a lower level than what we would find in a restaurant here, or where we would. There's just nuts and seeds are not as easy to digest as vegetables, for instance, and vegetables are not as easy to digest as fruits. And so, what's so important about easy digestion? Because digestion takes up 60% of our blood goes to digestion. And so, when we're digesting something that takes 2 or 3 days to digest, and it's still in there, you know, weeks later or years later, it's different than eating an apple, which is self-digesting, has the enzymes in it, and it does the thing. So I like to eat foods that are efficient. I want to be as efficient as possible. So the less I can eat, but I'm still getting enough calories. I don't want to be, you know, the calorie restrictor. That's not me. I eat abundantly, but I try to eat just enough in foods that go down very easily and simply, so that I have all this other energy for life. And that's where, to me, that is so important. It's everything to me now that I have a taste of it. It's like now I want that, I seek it. I seek that pure energy. So much that I made a company out of it.
What was the name of the guy you talked about a couple weeks ago that went down to eating just oranges?
Yeah, Dr. Robert Morse.
Robert Morse.
Robert Morse, MD. If you put Robert Morse, MD in YouTube, you will find he just out of nowhere. He didn't have any videos or anything. He's in Florida. He's low key. He doesn't even want to be known. People have asked, why don't you go on Oprah or something? He's like, because I'm afraid for my life. Because you know, if you start.
But he's not the guy that was in the 1800s.
No, he's not. He lives now.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually going to go out to see him and take a week-long course of his in Florida in April, and become a detoxification specialist.
What?
Yeah.
What was the thing that he was trying to treat with just eating oranges every day? Did he have anything going on physically?
He wanted to find God. He wanted to find the highest experience on his life. And it was always in him to do that. And he knew that foods were dragging him down. And he went from a standard American diet to like vegetarian, a vegan, to raw, to let's take out the vegetables. Okay, now let's take out the nuts and seeds. Okay, now let's just have fruit for 3 or 4 years. Okay, now let's just have 6 months of navel oranges only. And
That would kill me. They make me loopy.
It sounds exciting to me. I'm like,
It does to me too.
He said
I might try it. I want to read about it more.
He's never felt that high in his life. He said he didn't sleep, and I said to him, what do you mean you didn't sleep? You mean you slept less? And he's like, no, I didn't sleep. And I'm like, what? And he goes, I would just lay down. I would lay down and I would just be looking up, and I was just like outer body experience, having all of this energy. And so the raw food diet isn't so much as what you're eating, as much as it is what you're not eating. It's like the food is not the miracle. The body's a miracle. And when we feed the body what it wants, saw in that video, that first video. It happens. And when we see it for the first time, we're like, oh my God, what is this experience I'm feeling? And some of us, it's like, this is too much. This is too much energy. Let me stop this for a moment. Let me eat some cooked food. I did that because it was just too much to take. So, any other questions?
What I experienced when I was raw for 8 months is I wouldn't sunburn. Do you find that you don't sunburn?
None. I
could
used
be out for hours. And
I used to wear sunscreen all the time. I used to play basketball every day outdoors, and I would always just load up on the sunscreen everywhere. And I haven't used sunscreen in a couple of years, and I don't burn now.
Brought that up. I've been noticing just in the past 2 weeks I have bad scarring from sunburn from driving around.
Yeah.
And it feels like at night that feels like it's healing because I feel like it itches and stuff like that. So I massaged it, and in the morning I've noticed it's getting lighter and lighter.
Yeah.
Like sun damage going away. And my hands too. I have a lot of sun damage in my hands and it's going away.
Again, it comes down to when we give the body what it wants, not what our mind thinks or what people have sold us or whatever. When we give the body what it wants, all of a sudden all these things that we need are just, we don't need sunscreen. It's just, you know, and I'm not going to go out in the middle of the day in the sun. I heard
for hours and
right, and it still
That's
doesn't.
great.
But still, I try to stay, the rule of thumb I've heard, this is a pretty cool rule, is that if your shadow is longer than your height, that's a good time to be in the sun. But if your shadow is less than your height, that's, and that makes sense. I'm all into like the Mayan calendar and, you know, and how they made stuff way back when. It just makes sense to me. And it makes sense because I feel really good in the early morning sun or in the late afternoon sun. And I don't feel as good in the middle. But, you know, in the winter I'll do it. I'll go in the middle. You know, I don't look at the time. Any other questions before I wrap it up?